So let's officially kick off. A big good afternoon, everybody. And thank you, as always, for joining us today. For those of you who don't know who I am, I'm Chris Hall. I am the marketing manager here at Charity Digital, and I hope you're all doing very well. And thank you for taking the time to join us and stepping away from the weather, although I hope some of you are enjoying it where you can. Since today's webinar is about Adobe, and we'll go on to that in a minute, I thought I'd take the time to share a little bit more about the product side of what we do at Charity Digital. The exchange program has been with us since 2001, and it is the UK's only discounted and donated software platform. We've been able to save charities upwards of 300 million on software costs alone through the products we've been able to offer the sector. Now, eligible charities can get access to discounted software like Microsoft 365, the AWS credit scheme, Zoom, which has been very helpful in lockdown. We also have Avast Cloud Care, Lenovo laptops, Adobe Creative Cloud, of course, and we also have much more that we store on the product side of our website as well. And we also know at times like this that it's key to make sure you get the right tools for your organization's goals, budget, and resources. And with that in mind, we've been creating content to make it as easy as possible for you to make your decision when purchasing products over the last few months. You know, we've been creating articles on best fundraising platforms, best CRM platforms, best social media management platforms, best video creation tools, freelancer markets, as well as, you know, the tools that help transition to remote work. And so if you're not familiar with these or would, you know, or haven't come across these yet, I would highly recommend going back to the Charity Digital site and searching for them. I'm going to try and post a few in the chat throughout the webinar as well, and of course we'll include them in the webinar resources at the end. Alternatively as well, you know, if there are specific products or tools that you would like to know, if you would like to know about, please do let us know in the chat what you'd like us to cover, and we'll get those added into our content schedule straight away and get something put together for you. Excuse me. Anyways, onto the topic at hand. We've got a cracking webinar for you today. Undoubtedly, we're in the golden era of content at the minute. It underpins everything from, you know, all outreach, and it excuse me, and it often defines how and why a supporter will donate to your cause, you know, how engaging and efficient your services are, and it often turns your impact into really compelling stories as well. And these days, you know, thanks to smartphones, tablets, and laptops, we've all got the capability to be content creators. And there's so many tools out there, varying degrees of difficulty and price, that can take your content to the next level. Now, one of those is the Adobe Creative Cloud. It has a collection of over 20 desktop, mobile apps and services that cover everything from photography to design and video to web and user experience. But with all that comes a massive question of where do you start and how do you start? So today we are absolutely over the moon to be joined by Adobe Solution Consultant Matthew Mifsud and Adobe Product Marketing Manager Malin Person to take you on a tour of the Adobe Creative Cloud, you know, showcasing how you can use it for visual storytelling and user-friendly content creation. Today, it's all about creativity for all. It's a session for, you know, charities of all sizes who are looking to create high-level, engaging visual content easier, essentially. But before I hand over to Matthew and Malin, I do have to remind you all of the house rules quite quickly. Please do forgive us for any recording mishaps. We are still doing this 100% remotely, albeit myself being in the office today. If we have any sort of network issues or anything like that, we'll call it, we'll own it, and we'll do our utmost to get people back online as quickly as possible. As I said, continue to chat in the group. You know, there's going to be a lot of learnings and takeaways from the session today, but the additional learns and the additional value added comes from talking to each other. So please do crack on in there. Of course, we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end of the session as well. If you do want to submit a question, the Q&A button is at the bottom center screen for me. It looks like two speech bubbles overlapping. Do click on there and submit a question, and I'll be putting them towards the panel at the end of the presentation. Also, I've also mentioned about resources. For every webinar that we do, we record them and we put that recording alongside the slides and any resources that are mentioned on our website as well. So they will be available for you on the site within about a week of the webinar going out, and we'll also drop them in your inbox as well. So keep an eye out for those. So that's enough from me. Without further ado, I'd love to hand over and welcome Matthew and Malin. Welcome. Thanks for joining us today.
Hello.
Hi guys. Hi everyone.
Hey Chris. Thank you so much. It's utterly magical to be here. We're so excited to have all of you on the line as well. My name is Marlin. I am tuning in from a very sunny Luxembourg, but I'm usually based in London. And I hence work very closely with Matthew, who I've also got here. We're just going to kick off with some introductions, I think, Matt. So can you tell us a little bit what you do and who you are?
Sorry, I went on mute there for a sec. Yes, so I'm Matthew Mifsud. I'm a solutions consultant, which is a very broad role at Adobe. But essentially, what I do is I work with customers and clients to really showcase the power and prowess of the Creative Cloud, and also innovate within the creative space of really interesting ways of combining technology to produce really interesting creative outputs as well.
Awesome. And yes, my name is Malin and I am a product marketing manager. I also look after our large customers. I sit in the enterprise side, but the reason that we're here to talk to you guys today and why I'm so personally excited about all of this is because we have, just like Chris kind of alluded to earlier, we have a topic around creativity for all. But before we start, I'd love for Zoe, please, to launch the poll. Because what is the Creative Cloud? I am so sure that you have either heard of or used a couple of these products before. So if people can please just let us know, we'll take a couple of seconds here to just hold on and wait until we get some stats results, because it would be really great to just hear what you have heard of, what you haven't so far, and then we shall see. I think the votes are coming in, and soon I'm going to get the results posted to me, and I'm going to read them out for you all as well. All right, amazing. And as I was predicting, everyone has almost heard, 97% clicked Photoshop, which is really interesting. A lot of you have heard about Acrobat as well. So obviously our PDF solution and the document cloud that surrounds it as well. InDesign seems to be a very popular topic. And I'm also going to ask Matthew to go to the next slide now as well, so we can see them all in context, because you will see that this was only 10 of them, and there is a lot of other tools that we have as well. The reason I want to showcase what the Creative Cloud is in its own like periphery and in its own cloud is because we have lately had a very not dramatic shift of focus, but we've definitely had a shift in focus when it comes to producing specialized designer software to actually unleashing creativity and make sure that it's not just the creative workforce, but it is everyone who's got a story to tell, some content to produce, whichever, based on whether that will be social media and video, or whether that will be a digital website, etc., etc. So creativity for all is very much our mission, and it is our ambition to unleash that for everyone and all. Here is a lovely statement I think Matt put together for us as well, and it's something that I just wanted to share with you all here today, because there is a lot of specific software and professional software within the Creative Cloud for sure. But there is also a lot of products that are now popping up that are entry-level friendly. They are for the non-creative users, and I'm genuinely more excited about them and the development there, because it is around enabling creativity now, because everyone's got a story to tell. We all need to reach our audiences, right? And with that said, I also just want to highlight that, this opens doors, right? And it opens opportunities that might have not felt as easily reachable before, or have not felt as easily, or it just felt a little bit scary to start with. Because I remember when I was trained in Photoshop way back when, even in a different country, it was actually Australia, I was so afraid. I was like, what is this mega tool? Like, what do I do with the pen tool in Illustrator? And oh my God, InDesign, right? But now we have Rush and we have Spark and we have all the other SASE products. So Matthew, I'm going to hand over to you, because this is where we cross paths and I go a little bit quiet, and then I shall see you all later in the Q&A afterwards.
Thank you, Marlin. So actually, that's a really good way to kind of segue what we're going to cover today, actually. So what we're going to do today, first off, I have a brief that we're going to work towards. And what we've done is we've created a fake dog charity. And we're going to create a campaign. So we're going to create a campaign to promote an event. Well, you know, when events still happen, but let's just hope for the best, where potential owners can come and meet and rehome rescue dogs, okay? So the campaign will exist on social media. That means it will touch several different formats. And as a result, I will split this session into two. What we're going to look specifically today is two of our apps which have been created with a creativity for all purpose, which is Adobe Spark, which in itself is split into three, and Rush, which is predominantly video. But we're also going to have a look at collaboration. And in fact, that's where we're going to start. And I'm just going to repeat myself. So the first bit we're going to do is collaboration and brand assets. So what we're going to have a look at is Creative Cloud libraries, which are amazing at sharing, allowing you to manage, share logos, images, and so forth. And actually, I'll mention it whilst I'm going through the demo of this. You can actually, great thing about this, if you create a Creative Cloud library, you can access all of this stuff in Office 360 as well, in Word and PowerPoint, which is make it really easy for you to actually use the right assets and the right brand assets. We'll then move on to Spark, which essentially is a tool, which is an online tool. So it's all web-based, but also there are versions of the apps on iOS and Android that you will be able to build basically things like still images, videos, a landing page, and that is such what we're going to create, but it shows you how quickly you can create that kind of stuff. And finally, we're going to do, you know, the event has happened, so let's do a post-event content and recap. So we'll use Adobe Rush to create a video, a quick video to summarize the success of the event. So which this will include like moving titles predominantly, okay? And one of the great things about Rush, and I'll do it in the demo, is that I will start building it on my desktop and switch to use it on my mobile. And I think that's a very key important factor, like how mobile is, well, not mobile, sorry, cross-platform. Being able to work cross-platform is a critical part of our mission statement as well, because we want not just creativity for all, but everywhere as well, okay? So without further ado, let's get cracking. So here in my folder, right, I've got like my assets. And I'm going to open the Creative Cloud desktop app, which is what you find over here. The first thing you'll notice is there's all the apps which I have installed, but also apps which I need to update, like XD over there. Okay, so you can control all of that kind of stuff there. You also find different sections like, you know, photography, social media, and these are the apps I spoke about before where we're going to cover. This allows you to narrow down what you need to look at. Under the Discover tab, actually, there's a lot of tutorials, like really good stuff based on all the different apps. And you can access these straight from here. And they range from really beginner level to really advanced stuff. So feel free to start there. So let's look at libraries. As you can see here on my Got an Adobe library. So what is this? I'm going to create a new one, okay? And I'm going to call it Dog Charity. So this is, you know, spelled there, Charity. So I'm going to call it like, we're going to write it away. Cool. So now I've got a library set up and I'm going to drag and drop some of my assets. So first of all, I'm going to drag and drop my logos. Okay. And then maybe some of the brand images over there. Okay. So I've just dropped that into the library. And at this moment, you can see they're not grouped. You can actually also group some footage as well. And I'm not going to drop any of the event content because I will refer to that later. But let's focus on what I have working on now. So I've got a bunch of images here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create group. So the AI has grouped it up for me. But what I'm going to do now is just going to separate the images from the logos. So let's call those brand images and then select the two logos and just create logos over there. The next thing I'm going to do is, and probably if you're a marketer, you won't be doing this bit, but as a designer, but you would expect the designer to do this for you. So I'm going to open an Illustrator file and I'm going to add the colors of the brand as well to the library. So first, let's go Window Libraries and add my colors. You can see everything is kind of structured as what I've structured it in the Creative Cloud desktop app. But now I'm just going to add the fill color only, okay? And the interesting thing is that it gives me the hex code reference. So I've just added the colors. And actually, if I go back to my library management, they are already there. Obviously, they are not grouped. and I'm just going to add them as a group as colors. So this means now, if I had to use these assets, I can use them now throughout most of the Creative Cloud apps. Okay, and I'll show you how we've started using them in Spark in a minute. And just make sure that I have brand consistency across the board. So in fact, other things you could do is, as I saw, other drag and drop, you can add items there, you can duplicate items, but the most important thing is sharing. So I can decide to share with people, like for example, Marlon, you don't show up, so let's change someone else. So let's, for example, she's a colleague of mine, and I can choose for her to view or edit this. So if I want her only to just be able to use the assets but not make changes, I can control access basically. And that's great because that means we get, again, brand consistency. So this is it's easy, straightforward. It just makes my life so much easier, okay, in the long run. So it's a bit of setup in the beginning, but when you've set it up, you're good to go, okay? So I think I've done all my libraries. Let's move on to Spark. So I'm going to go to spark.adobe.com. And as it loads here, I have got my Spark page. As you can see, I can create a variety of web shapes, like, Instagram stories, videos, Facebook posts, and so forth. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up the brand. As there's already a brand set up there, which is kind of all the work I do for my art, because obviously I use Spark for personal projects. But the first thing, let's do the dog charity brand. So I'm just going to upload a logo. Okay, so I will upload that one. Okay, and look, if you notice on the right-hand side, it's already started. That shows you how things are going to be applied to. So the logo has been applied in a way. That's kind of a rough idea. Pick a color. Look, it automatically samples color from the logo. So for me, I'm just going to choose the orange as being my main one. And things have started to change. And typeface, now you can add your own font, okay, over here. Just upload it basically. But in this case, I'm just going to choose something that kind of modern and good looking. So I'm just going to go for Futura PT. So there you go. And press next. I'm going to call this Saving Dogs. And let's start. So it's created my brand here. So this is kind of more modifications to the brand. The reason why we're doing this setup as well is just when we start creating Facebook posts, videos, and web pages in Spark, it will just automatically brand them for me, which just would make my life super easy. So first off, let's look at the typeface. It's suggesting a secondary typeface here. So again, you can add your own typeface, or you can choose from something that they suggest and replace it, for example. But actually, I quite like what they suggested. So it's such a great way how the AI can kind of tell you what works, okay? Other thing I'm going to do is, obviously, as we know, these are some of the stuff that will affect video, you see page and stuff like that. But what I'm going to do next is just add more colors, because we know that's the primary color, but we need other colors to be in the picture. So what I'm going to put there is a hex reference, so I get the exact color. Okay, so that will be 1286683, and that should work. Perfect. And then the blue, which is 1 second, 2F4585. 2F455. Cool, great. So I've got my colors all set up and good to go. So I'll be able to use them and then create color combinations based on those when I start building brand assets. And yeah, so that is, I'm going to make this my default brand now, so it automatically loads that up and I can start working. I can also share that brand, okay, to you can share that within the team. So everyone's, again, working from the single source of truth. So the first thing we're going to do is an Instagram post, okay? So press plus and choose Instagram post. Great. So on the right-hand side, there's a bunch of templates which have already been designed for us and all good to use, okay? But you can choose to design your own, starting from a template, which is something that I am going to do now. As you can see, there's so many to choose from. Just trying to find something which is a bit basic, okay? And if I press the brandify, look, it automatically put colors onto the canvas, so that was work. I'm going to start with this one because I quite like how the split screen work. And already the logo is there. You can press shuffle to shuffle through the colors, and actually I quite like that kind of color combination. Another thing you can do is change the layout. So at the moment it's half and half, but there's a lot of layouts. Look, you can kind of choose. You can choose like 2/3, 1/3. You can choose 3/4 or quarters, for example. There's so many different combinations. These are like boxes which you will drop content. But I'm just going to go for 1/3, 2/3. And in fact, look, if I select the left box, I'm just going to change next to the brand color. And in this case, this left box, I'm going to add an image. So I've got the option to upload an image, or other options if you can connect it to Dropbox, to Adobe Stock as well. You can find free photos, usually linked to Unsplash. But because I have uploaded stuff into a library, I'm going to use my libraries. So that's going to save me a lot of time of searching and looking for things. And there you go. So I got my images here. So I'm going to choose a nice dog picture. And I've got this cute little pup over here on the scale. Too close. Let me just scale him way back. I want the crop to be something around that. Yeah, move him up a bit. And as you can see, you can basically kind of choose how the crop fits. Now that logo doesn't work for me, so I'm just going to replace the logo with another one. And put that over there. Perfect. Now let's start by adding some copy. So let's find a design, like a headline design, and then I'll change it, I'll modify it. But the great thing, look, it just gives you starting points. And sometimes that's all you need, like, is a starting point, right? And you can kind of take it from there. But even if you're just happy to stick where you are, it's great. So let's get to the event title, Doggy Date Day. I've copied the other copy as well, just replace that. And that kind of automatically fits into that space. Okay, so I'm just going to start laying it out on the page. Obviously, one thing that doesn't work there, we've noticed, is the typeface. Okay, so we will need to change that. So in fact, look, if you scroll to the top, it automatically suggests the typeface that I've saved. So we've got saving dogs. I'm just going to choose the proper brand typeface, which has changed this. Okay, let's add some more copy. Let's find kind of a more subtle, softer, because I want to make that for the location. Look, as you can see, there's so many other different variety of ones you can choose. Perfect. I think that actually is the right typeface. And I'm just going to event. I'm just going to put that to Brockwell Park and remove all of that. Perfect. Now look at this. If I move that to the side, it automatically readjusts it. So to reduce the size, I have to change the point size. Change that to the proper typeface, move that along. Again, let's resize it a little bit smaller so it fits within that space. And as you can see, look, I get guides and everything snaps into position. Let's add more copy. Perfect. This will be the long copy. Seems that as a typo there. Right, and change that to Futura. Perfect. So look at this. If I resize it from the edge, that kind of does automatic resizing. So if I want to reduce the size, I need to reduce the actual size of the copy like that. But it was great is it automatically adjusts the type as I move the text box, which keeps it really nice and aligned. Let's get it aligned with everything like that. Cool. Right. So I'm just going to move that a little bit across because I don't want it to be sticking out. I just want to give it a bit of gap between the two. But I'll notice how easy it is just to resize and reshape things. But I'll show you something actually quite cool later on, actually, to that effect. Right, let's add one final piece of text, which is our call to action. And I want something that's going to stand out like that. So that's quite bulky. Let's just draw a register now. Okay. That's rather big and will definitely grab your attention. So I'm rather happy with that. Let's try to find a nice position for it. But there, that's quite nice. But in case you are not happy with that, right? You can easily change the layout to one of the ones that is provided with you. And you will automatically see, say, for example, if I click that one, the roundel, it just changes it. Okay, so just that means that once you write, you don't need to rewrite the copy. I quite like this angled one. It just feels like a nice little tab over there. Let's just change the color. So here at this point, look, it gave me a bunch of color combinations that the AI things would work in such a way that the copy would be legible. So for example, if I press that one, it's shifted to white and black, whereas I can choose a secondary color to be something else. Yeah, I can shuffle through all of these and choose one that I feel works, which I do think that's quite cute and works without being too aggressive. Okay, cool. I'm quite happy with that. So the one last thing I might do, actually, you know, why don't we mess up with the layout? So this is what I mean. So I'm going to jump out to choose this, and I'm just going to add another column. So this is the great thing about Spark. You don't need to restart again. If you want to change your mind, just press that. And now I've just added another layout because I want to add another dog picture. Why not? So if I select that column, again, image, I'm going to choose libraries. Again, you can upload. I'm just going to choose libraries in this instance. And I'm going to choose the dog. Yes, choose the dog with the princess crown. Right. So I'm going to try to drag. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. That's okay. But actually, that's a good way. So basically, look how easy it is to swap panels about. So the moment's just misbehaving a little bit. But oh, we got it. We got the picture. Bigger to kind of match. Now, isn't that cute? So adjust it. And yeah, and kind of back, I do want to swap the panels. I much preferred how it was before. So just hold and drag over the other ones, swap it back. Okay. So I pretty much have my post ready, but before I move on, one thing I want to show you is actually I can animate this post, okay? So with animation, look, you can add, at the moment there's nothing applied, but you can add some really nice dynamic effects to it. So for example, not this one, this is the automatic, but I quite like this. That the copy comes in like that, can really make it interesting. Or I can animate the photos, for example, so the dogs will come inside. At this point in time, you can't have a combination of both, and I wouldn't recommend it because you'd be too busy. So I would just stick to one kind of animation, okay? You can also affect things like color, so I quite like how the dogs come in. So in this case, right, now I've finished, you can download it. If you have animation, you would download like a video, like an MP4, and then you can use that on social media as a social media post. But if you download a PNG or a JPEG, that will be a still image, obviously. So that's a great thing. You can have a combination of both. Or you can also download a PDF. Once again, that is a still, okay? You can also, say that, yes, JPEG, PNG, PDF. You can also, though, share your work. So the great thing about Spark is you can collaborate, okay, with other people. So for example, again, this, I can invite Marlon to collaborate with me on this project. You can't work at it at the same time, but you can access it separately from the same account, basically. So that's great because people can make changes or download that project. And sharing is the exact same thing as download in this case. Now, I'm just going to do something quickly. I'm going to show you quickly how to resize stuff. So if I duplicate this project quickly, in case, say that's for Instagram, right? And now I want to make this for Facebook, which is a completely different size. Now, this is how, for me, this is, well, in my opinion, how cool it is. So I'm going to find Facebook size there, something horizontal, which is completely different, and just click on it. Boom. You can see here, guys, how things have been restructured accordingly. Obviously, it's not 100% perfect. For example, I'm going to swap that to the other logo because I think that works best. But just think of the time it saved me when it came to we have to rebuild all of this, okay? So I'm just going to make some adjustments, and literally it's pretty much nearly ready to go, rather than me having to rebuild all of this, copy all the assets separately. You know, look how quickly it was for me just from one shape to resize and redo it to a completely different format, okay, and structure. I'm just gonna get those grids aligned and everything working, and yeah, and this looks like it's nearly good to go. Again, the same principles apply, but look how easy it was. And another completely differently shaped ad, okay? Just from one single master file. So that's another way you could do it, right? Get your designers to set one up for you, and then you just churn them out to different sizes. Back to projects. They're being saved there, as you can see. Next, how about we try to do a video? I'm going to write something here. So in the video here, you just write a title, basically. I wouldn't get too caught up in this because we'll be changing this anyways. This is just to save your file, basically. So the way the video works, just think about it as a PowerPoint and slides, right? You're just going to add stuff. You automatically have your logo at the end. Credits, I tend to hide them, but then look, you just add slides. So the first thing I'm going to do is add a video. A bit of a watch out here. You can't add stuff from Creative Cloud libraries. We have not integrated it yet, but it will be coming soon. So I'm just going to upload the video. This cute dog over there. I'm going to do this one. Right, and when you load the video, it loads kind of this preview version. And as you can see, I'm going to have to drag and across the handles at each side to just kind of choose which one I want kind of the crop, the section, the trim, basically trim the video. I'm just going to find one. I quite like that when the dog kind of looks at you, it looks very cute. So I'm just going to try to find and position it where the dog lifts his head up. Yeah, a bit more like that. Is that too much? Yeah, oops, I think I missed it. Yeah. Back. So if you notice on the bottom right corner of the video, it tells you how long that clip's going to be. That's perfect. So I'm going to save it. Great. It's there. And that cute video also nicely cropped. I don't like that stamp, so I'm going to get rid of it. Let's move that to the front. It's like rearranging slides. I'm going to add some text. And look, notice automatically there's like a background shadow that came over the dog footage. So that means that the text is a bit more legible, basically. Okay, it's automatically as well noticed in the right typeface of the brand because I have set up a brand page. Okay, I'm just going to get a couple more copies. So maybe this long copy needs to be split into two because you won't be able to read it if it's all on one frame. I'm just going to add a bit of another video, or maybe not. Let's do the text first. Okay. And resize it accordingly. I really hate how font build is kind of ruining my design. So I think I'm going to cheat and just go with no hyphens in this one. Right. So I can add a photo or a video, and also I can change the layout. So I'm going to do a split screen in this instance. Okay. So look, gave me a really nice split screen where I can adjust the size accordingly. I'm going to put a photo. Again, unfortunately, we've not combined the Creative Cloud libraries here in this part yet, but so I'm just going to upload a photo from my storage, okay? That's fine. Actually, let's match it to the one that we did before. Yeah, there you go. I'm going to move, swap. You can actually, wait, you can actually swap the dog panel and the copy panel. You can swap them around as well by pressing that button, and actually I much prefer it this way. Let's adjust the dog quickly. That's too much. I want to be bigger, and then I want to move it across. So kind of matches the design that we had before. Right, credits are hidden. Let's add more slides. Let's add a video this time. Let's add the sausage dog, because I do love sausage dogs actually. My friends have two of them. And I'm just not going to trim it, I'm just going to add it. Now, again, I want to do a split layout, but first let's zoom it in a little bit because I want it to be, again, I have quite a tight, specific look I want for my video. Let's add it up. Add the rest of the copy. So you can do a caption like this, which I'm not sure I like. So if I go to themes, I'm making sure it's the same. Why don't do that? Probably it's because I have to set up different. I didn't set up the brand page completely. It's okay. Let us change that. Maybe split layout. Yeah, that's better. Great. And the great thing, look, the video will still be there in the layout, and I think that's pretty cute actually. So I'm just going to edit that so I center and frame the dog a little bit better. You can choose the different themes as well. So for me personally, I'm not sure that color works. So I can edit the theme to impact everything else. So I want to replace the background color, okay, with my blue, so it's properly on brand. This is my fault for not setting up the brand page properly. So, but the great thing is I've noticed that, and I can go back to and change this completely, you know, when I am working on things. Now that feels much better on brand for me because I'm using the two main brand colors. Oops, for some reason this came back. So let's remove that. And now all that's left is maybe use another photo to give the date and time. Let's use the other photo. Which one was it? It's that one. Yeah. Perfect. Still loading, isn't it? Yeah. And just get the location and the date. I'm just going to get rid of date and location. Keep it short and simple and snappy, basically. Great. And so, look, it automatically snaps as well, which is such a handy way. I'm just going to do again the same usual process. Make the dog big and slightly off center. And yeah, I think pretty much my video. Oh, call to action. Let's add a call to action at the end. Visit our website and register now. Great. So I think it's pretty ready. So again, you can change themes. You can also add some music. You can also add the logo, show stamp. I'm not going to worry about this too much. Look at this resize, same process again. If you click widescreen, everything is resized accordingly, guys. You can see at the bottom as well, but I'm just going to stick to square for now. So that's another great feature, right? If you do a video which is square, you can change it into widescreen at a touch of a button, and that should allow you to generate videos for different formats and sizes. When we do Rush, there's actually much more options for you to do. Music, you're not going to hear my music because I've disabled that, because then it will fight with my voice, but you can also do that and also share with people. And when you, now, this is the thing, when you click publish, it's going to generate a web link that you can actually share and embed on websites, so you don't need the actual physical video. Think of how YouTube, right? You generate a YouTube video clip, then you just use to embed. So that will be hosted on our servers. When it comes to download, you can actually download it. I'm not going to do that right now, onto your machine as an MP4. And obviously you can preview it. And there you go. That's the little video, short video I did in a couple of seconds. Okay. So this is how handy it is. It's engaged. It just makes content a little bit more engaging rather than just a static. Nothing's wrong with a static, but you know, this is giving you more tools to be able to create your own different content. Okay. So the last thing I'd love to create is a web page. So obviously you might have your own web pages, but think about this. Maybe you want to do a landing page, or actually what we use Spark pages, this is what it's called, a lot, is for presenting results or presenting concepts and ideas, because it's quite cool to create a really nice presentation. So let's just add the title, doggy date, and probably I'll add the event. We don't need that. Let's add a breakpoint. Great, cool. And then just the same, if you notice, guys, is the same principle throughout, okay? Is clicking plus and adding a photo. Everything is very intuitive. Everything is kind of very structured for you. So that's going to load a lovely photo for me, full bleed. So the page won't look like this. It will look a bit more structured. So let's keep on adding stuff. So I'm going to add, you can add a video URL, like that could be great. Buttons, but what photo grid, like a gallery. You could do like a split layout again. So this here you can add another image. And in this case, I'm going to add that one. I want brand consistency. Now text here, you have a couple of options. Okay, you've got H1 means headline 1. I'm just going to copy stuff. One sec. Paste it just to show you it makes more sense. Headline 1 gives you that. Headline 2 makes it sub-headline, and that kind of like a quote, which gives it nice. So I'm just going to go for headline 1 and then add a button. So this could be register here. Register now, centralize it. And then in this case, you put a link to your website where you want to register. But obviously, just to show you at the moment, I'm just going to put the adobe.com. And look, I got a button there. Centralize it, please. For some reason, it's up. There you go. It needs to be centralized. And then, so you can create hyperlinks. Again, you can add a video and add the URL there to that video. Text, again, any bits of text, photos. I'm going to add a photo because I'm going to use a photo to act as a breaking page. I'm going to search for one online. So let's pick one I found online, free one. How about that? Oh, cute puppy. Honestly, there's so many cute dogs, picture dogs here. And you can choose if it's going to be full width. I want it to be as a break, so it acts as a window. Look, it's going to have a nice parallax effect to it. I'm not going to put a caption, but I am going to put a glide show. This is really cool. So glide show, it's not going to make sense to you, but as such, you choose a variety of images that will kind of work to create nice parallax effect. It makes sense once you see what I'm going to do with it. So I'm going to upload the other 3 photos, basically. I want to choose those. They're loading, please hold. Great, so I've got my glide show, I'm gonna save it. And you can look, so basically look, they're gonna have this really nice parallax effect, and you can add then things. I've got some dummy copy over there, which I'm gonna add. Ignore what it is, I just wanna show you an example of how that looks. Again, you can do a variety of sizes, bullet formatting, whatever you expect, basically. And it just gives it a really cool effect. You can choose the focal point, so the dog, because yeah, so interestingly enough, so the one thing I forgot to mention, especially about pages, is they're responsive. So if I had to load the web page on a smaller device, such as mobile, everything would restructure accordingly, which is actually really handy. I think that's actually a very cool key feature, which I forgot. So by that means, by choosing the focal point, I have made sure that the dog face will always be centralized. That is the hero part of the image. I can actually swap the box to the other side so it doesn't mask the dog. Same, let's add some text. That way, swap it, come on. Great. And then the last one as well. Perfect. Great, so you can see the effect of the glide. So let's just do a preview. So this is how it would look when you load. You won't get those awful page breaks. It will just feel like one flowing web page look with no page break. Really nice parallax effect going on. The hyperlink is working. Then you get the glide show. So look how cool all of this looks. And look how quickly and easy it was for me to build this. Really low hassle, no stress. I can share it, you know, I can actually print it. It will print it like a PDF as well. You can invite people to work on it, but you can also publish and share the link. So that will generate a URL, this sharing the same thing. And that, yeah, and we use this sometimes as a presentation tool, basically. By pressing next, it automatically flips to the next section. And that kind of can look a really engaging presentation. So think about Spark Pages, not just as a web page, but as a presentation tool. Okay, so I think I am pretty done with Pages. Okay, so what we'll cover next is post-event. Okay, and now whilst I switch apps, what we're going to look at is Adobe Premiere Rush. What Adobe Premiere Rush is a video editing software, okay, but made super accessible. So here's my Premiere Rush, and I've got a bunch of projects here which I have worked on previously, but I'm just going to create a new project. So I'm working on my desktop. As soon as I've done that, if I go to dog footage, I'm going to, like, obviously I've loaded up the folder. I'm just going to select a bunch of clips which I want to use. So that one, and that one, okay? And it's loaded them up at the bottom, okay? And now they are sitting on my timeline, okay? I'm just having a look at the time. We're doing good, I think. So just looking at the timeline, okay? So this, look, if I scrub through, you can see the video playing, basically. So I'm going to add a little bit more media. You can add voiceovers and titles, which we'll do later. I'm just going to add the logo. So look, now if I add the logo, I'm going to drag and drop it above the dog footage, because that means I want it to sit on top of it, okay? So obviously it's too big. I don't want it masking my entire dog, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to resize that one sec. Select it and resize it and make it small and put it as a bug at the corner. Great. Actually, you know what? I've done enough work on my iPad, sorry, on my laptop, and I'm going to switch to my iPad. So let me just rename the project. And because this is a cloud document, it automatically syncs across every device. It's actually not saved on your machine. It's saved in the cloud. So I'm just going to save it, and then it's going out in the cloud. And let us switch to my iPad. And the great thing about this, guys, is that the user interface for the desktop and the iPad is exactly the same. And you've got also basically any iOS device and some Android devices, you can use that. They all have the same, what's the word, user interface. So look, everything is exactly what what I had before. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit and start editing. So I'm just going to extend the logo to be about 25 seconds, because that's kind of how long I want the end. I'm going to shorten the last clip. So kind of like managing, using those handles at the edge to control the size of my clips. Okay. So as you can see, I'm scrubbing through. Great. So my logo is throughout, staying throughout. Look at the top right corner. Right, let's add some titles. So titles will be motion graphics, okay? You've got a lot to choose from, as you can see from the presets, but also you can buy some. So if we chase modern title, that one. Oh, loading, there you go. And it sits, again, because it needs to appear over everything else. It's gonna sit on top of everything, okay? So that's how it looks, which I don't particularly like. So I'm just gonna choose another one. I quite like this one, jump in, because I love the energy it has. Look, it jumps in literally. So let's change the copy. Let's change the typeface to Futura. Oh, that's too light. I think it was heavy. Good. Let's change it to that. Let's feel its own brand now. And next, let's add the title, which is Doggy Dates Day. And yes, one thing I always forget to do this properly. Okay, so to resize, obviously you can resize it from the corner edges, and even now I'm going to do some modifications. That looks quite cute, actually. Nice and punchy and full of energy. So one thing you just be mindful. Look, you change the color, but nothing has absolutely happened here. So what you need to be mindful in this instance is make sure, like, you know, in a Word document, if you want to change the color of something, you need to make sure you have selected the copy so you can change it. Just need to select all of it. Cool. And now let's change it to our brand colors, which, because I've saved them on a cloud, they are already there. You can see they're in a library. So that should have changed them. Now, maybe I go with the orange actually because it feels better. I'm going to add a drop shadow, so kind of lifts it up from the background. Just add a bit of blur, so it's subtle. Oh, I skipped ahead. And there you go. Look, Doggy Date Day, colors on brand, and it's also quite legible. Thing is, I really want it to kind of fit with that jump. So I'm just going to trim that clip by grabbing it from the handles and shift it along a little bit. Yeah, because that needs to be a bit long like that. Yeah, that's better because I want the dog to be able to jump across. Fab. But now actually, what I'm going to add as well for motion graphics, you could actually add some transitions. So we'll look at transitions like smooth transitions later, but you can also add some fancy ones, like as the tricolor wipes that you've got at the bottom. Okay, or actually one of my favorite ones, which is the angled stripes transition. And I'm going to put it over the clips. Again, it needs to be over the clips, so it layered up, so it kind of looks over it. And also, if you notice, I've placed it in between, right, kind of at the gap between those two. So then it looks like something like this. Okay, that's a nice transition, a nice wipe, something really cool and interesting. Okay, cool. What's next? Let's copy and paste my titles because I want them to be consistent, and maybe add some other copy. So for example, over 150 attendees. Yep. Great. Let's move it in the middle. Perfect. Good. That's enough time to read it, and just move on to the next one now. Again, copy and paste that and say, let's say 45 dogs return adopted. Perfect. Good. That's also a sentence. I'm quite happy with that. Awesome. Now let's look at some transitions. So I just went to transitions. I'm just going to add cross dissolve between the two. So what that means now, look, it's going to, rather than cut, just dissolve. Okay. And that effect, actually, I like applying it to the beginning as well. So kind of things kind of load up smoothly. You apply that to the logo. And at the end, I'm going to do dip to black. So when they finish, oh, come on, Snap. there, and the dips to black. Thing is, the logo at the moment is kind of dipping, finishing earlier, so I need to match the timings on that. Let's make sure we get the handle. Come on. So that's a bit tricky. There you go. Cool. So now they finish at the same time. Right. So I think I'm nearly ready. One thing actually I've noticed though, is the color. So as you can see, I really love the look and feel of this clip. So if you go to the color panel on the right hand side, I can actually find a filter, let's call it that I can apply to this look. This feels really consistent, look a bit or more like a filmic feel to it. Even this. It basically, if you fix the color, just makes all the clips feel like they're all the same. And I think that's a really good trick to use to really blend in the things together. You can also speed ramp. And yeah, let's add some audio. So you can choose, again, I'm not going to play the audios, but you can choose anything. You can upload your own, but you can also choose audio from our libraries as well. It adds automatically at the base. And I'm just going to shorten it because it's way too long by grabbing the handle and dragging it automatically. It automatically snaps in, by the way. One neat feature actually about audio is, say I wanted to do a voiceover over this, you know, our AI is capable of understanding what type of audio it is. So the moment it's saying it's music, and I've selected the functionality of auto duck. That means that if it hears voiceover, as soon as voice comes in, the music will automatically lower itself, reduced by 87%. So therefore, voiceovers and the background music won't fight with each other. Okay, so that's a really useful trick. One last thing, notice, look, you can also change the sizes to, as you did in Spark, to other variety of format sizes like that. It might require a bit more jiggling and juggling around, but I think it makes it super easy for you to work around different formats very quickly. I think I am ready and I am going to export it. And yeah, I think that's my bit.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you very much, Matt. That was awesome. Really, really good to see and share some of the key skills that you can pick up so easily from such a simple tool. So thank you very much for that. Really appreciate it. We have got some questions flooding in, which is great. If you do want to submit questions, just a reminder, you can do so by hitting the Q&A button. It's like the two speech bubbles overlapping, usually down there at the bottom of the screen. Hit that, pop your question in, and we'll do our very, very best to get it answered in the time. So we'll start with some of the more specific sort of skill-based questions and then move on from there. Alice asks, sorry, can you remove the background of an image on Spark? For example, you had that image of the dog, you had the yellow background behind it. Can you change and remove that?
So there is a functionality actually that you can do these edits, yes, to the image. So I think I need to check. It's definitely, I saw it happen. I'm not sure if it's still in beta. So it means it might be coming out in a month or so. But the questions, your answer will be yes, yes. There is, if it's not there yet, it will be coming out in the next couple of weeks, actually.
Thanks, Matthew. Really helpful. Becky actually asked the question, which was answered, that in Spark you can add a logo. Can you add a logo over the video throughout in the same way you overlay?
Absolutely, absolutely. The thing is, when you set up the brand page, there's more to it. You know, there's kind of like, if you scroll down, you saw me scroll down, it tells you can actually set up how the video also looks. You know, when I went into the video and I've changed the color combination, yes, you can actually set up which logo will appear as the bug at the corner.
Oh, cool. And can you, she also asks, can you determine the size and placement of the logo of the video? Or does it always show up in that one place? No,
you will set it up. If you set it up in your brand page, okay,
right,
then it will automatically, that's where it will, it's up to you. You want to lock it in place so you have brand consistency. It always shows in the top left corner, top right corner, just up to you. But once you set in the brand page, then that's how it will check it, and then you can kind of modify it if you wanted to.
Super. Hope that helps.
Actually, just to go back to the other one, because whilst I was talking to you, I was checking. Yes, there is a functionality now, which is still in beta, to remove the background.
Awesome.
Okay.
Look at that. Answers in flight. I love it. Thanks, Matthew. Really appreciate that. So next question from Catherine Kemp, can Smart Pages be embedded into a WordPress site?
Oh, that is a very good question. I do not know 100% the answer to that, but it depends. Let's have a think. Because I never use WordPress, so I don't know. It depends on how WordPress is built. If you can put an iframe code in it, I think you might be able to get around that. The question is, test it out. I don't know, because I've never tested it out myself, but it's something that you could test out with, what's it called? WordPress.
Cool. Yeah, we've got a similar question, which is, can you host them on a specific domain? I guess that kind of answers that.
Yeah, in a way, yes, you can, because I think what you could do is reroute and white label the URL. So there's ways around it. It's not something that Adobe will offer us to do, but there will be solutions for you. You get a URL, and then you can get that URL and pass it through another one, basically.
Super. Thank you for that. Catherine asks, what are the key differences between Premiere Pro and Rush? What makes Rush quicker and easier to use?
Well, you saw me how quickly I built that video, so that should answer your question. But no, realistically speaking, it's a simplification. Premiere Pro is for it's for professionals in a way that we're not, but we have stripped. If you look at user interfaces for a start, right? We have stripped it back so much that you just have the essentials and will be able to do. And actually, I mean, I know how to use Premiere Pro, and sometimes, if I'm being honest, I do find myself starting in Adobe Premiere Rush, especially to build the sequence and the base and to just add a couple of elements and then load it up into Premiere Pro when I want to do a bit more complicated things, So it's about levels and level of usage. I think if you are used to using Premiere Pro, you might find Rush frustrating, but at the same time, I value the quickness of being able to do Rush, and also, most importantly, the fact that if I start a project on my desktop, I can finish it on my mobile phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good flexibility, isn't it? But a few questions about clipping in Rush. Is there a way you can clip videos and images in Rush itself, or do you have to add them in in the right size?
Oh, as in like crop, you mean?
Crop, yes, sorry, crop.
Yes,
yeah.
Absolutely, yes. You just zoom it in and out. And there's a function of scale where you can just crop, you create a cropping bounding box, totally.
Sounds simple as that. Next question from Helen. The app, she asks, is it only for iPad for the tablet app? But I know you mentioned
Rush, probably, right?
Probably Rush. Just
okay.
looking at the title with that.
No, it's not. No, it's basically available on iOS. So any device that runs the latest iOS. On Android, there is limited release. It's definitely available on Samsung devices and some other ones, but you have to check on that. But all iOS devices which run the kind of more recent platform, like what I'm calling operating system, that's what I'm looking for, will be able to run.
I was trying to help you, but wasn't sure what you were trying to do.
It's okay, it's okay.
We've got a few questions from several different people about subtitles as well. Obviously, really important from an accessibility point of view. Is the ability to add subtitles in Rush?
Well, yeah, the same. You saw how I added the motion graphics. I chose a very flamboyant one with a bouncy one, but there's simple things like subtitles just appearing at the base. As simple as that, with no fuss, no muss, basically.
And someone else keep it on. There's literally questions flying, and I'm trying to keep up with them. Gillian asks, on Rush, can you fade sound in and out? I know this is
totally. You saw I applied the fading transitions, right, to the clips. If you apply that fading transition to the sound, it will have a similar effect of fading in or fading out. Depends.
And you have a follow-up question that can you animate images so multiple come into a slide at any time?
In Rush.
Yeah,
they would need to be MOV files. So say, for example, if you're going to choose, if you want the image to kind of slide in, right? That's where Premiere Pro will come in, because that's basically an After Effects job. It's a kind of motion graphics job, right? So that's when, if you want to start doing that kind of stuff, you need to move to Premiere Pro.
Good to know. You might be once you get that's a good indication of once you get into that level, that's when you can start moving your way over.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to a little bit more of outside of the specific product world. There's a few questions about being relatively new to the Creative Cloud, or being, you know, something that they might have used in a time gone by and are just starting to come back with it. So where can people start to get back to grips with this? Is there any sort of online training that they can take to get up to speed?
Totally. So we offer a lot of enablement on the adobe.com website and on Behance as well. You can look at so many different types of tutorials online, because I think, especially if you're coming back to it, you know, I do find sometimes our software changes at a very rapid pace. So, which is why sometimes, as I said with the beta, I know I saw it, but I could not remember if it's live yet, because we see stuff that you guys are not seeing as well. So I appreciate if you've stepped away from it, you know, like, where did I leave this off? But yes, thankfully, there's a lot of tutorials out there. There's also tutorials on the new features specifically. So if you go, you'll be able to kind of back search what came out. It's hard, obviously, beyond this day, to be able to see what other features and how things have changed as well. Okay. From the creative...
I also want to add in that there is an in-app tutorial kind of segment as well. So you can definitely just click your way, see what you want to learn. And whenever you open up a new piece of software, take the tour, and you can also actually re-prompt for the tour to happen. And it will go through the latest and the greatest if it just is for an update, or it will take you literally on a tour around the entire functionality. So it is a really intuitive way of learning. It's like almost little steps that you can take on yourself, but also being guided.
It's really good, actually, thanks, Suman, and that's actually a really good point, because also when you do this tour, especially if you stepped away for a while, it's really great to familiarize yourself with the user interface again, especially if it's changed.
Magic. And we'll make sure to get those links off you so we can include them in the resources afterwards, and the people who ask those questions can go and get themselves back up to speed, which is what it's all about. There's been a question from Paul. He has a personal subscription, and it's okay if you don't know the answer to this, we can dig in afterwards. He's got a personal subscription to the All Apps Creative Cloud. If his organization's buys 2 subscriptions, which he can do through us, is he able to get rid of his personal one? He's about 4 months in so far.
So what he's asking is, can he migrate the content that he has created from his personal one to the company one?
I think A, that, and B, can he transfer, transfer things over, maybe transfer, maybe cancel that as well and start using
No, totally. I mean, this is it, right? If so, before he cancels it, there's a tutorial. This is a very in-depth question. It's a very, but there he can transfer from his personal. There's ways, and if you search on Adobe.com, because obviously there's so many tutorials. We'll give you the portal, but you need to do the search. But there is enablement around this, how to migrate stuff from one account to the next. But if he's not worried about migrating things, all he needs to do is sign in with the company one, and then stop his other membership, unless he's signed to the 12-month contract. So I can't go into specifications because I don't know the details behind the way he's doing subscription. So yeah.
And thanks. Hope that helped, Paul. A lot of people are asking, are Spark and Rush and everything like that part of the All Apps plan, or are they separate products?
Let's start talking about this. So Spark and Rush are actually free. There's caveats. Okay, so I think with Spark, you get a watermark that it was created in Spark. Okay, so you can actually start creating stuff, but you're always going to get that created in Spark, which doesn't look very professional if you're an established brand. Okay, with Rush, you can use Rush and you can export up to 2 or 3 videos a month. I can't remember the exact number. So that's the free version. Okay, what you don't get access is things like libraries and stuff like that. They are also part of the All Apps. So yes, if you are paying subscription on the All Apps, they're also part of individual licenses. Okay, so you can buy usage for just Spark or just Rush, which is obviously much, if that's what you're going to be using, it's much cheaper than having the entire Creative Suite.
Great, and a follow-up to that is there a non-profit discount for
Let you answer that.
Exactly, and I can answer that. So we actually offer the All Apps, Adobe All Apps through our exchange program, sorry, and that is available for charities. For the first year, they get a 60% discount off that, and then the second year and thereon get a 40% discount. So we can add that into the resources at the end of how you can go ahead and purchase that, or alternatively head over to the product side of our website, bash in Adobe into the search engine, it pops straight up and you get the specific offers there. And I think that is it actually for all our questions. So massive thank you to both Matthew and Malin for joining us today. Amazing webinar, loads of engagement, loads of great questions as well. And of course, big thank you to all of you in home or wherever you are for joining us today. As I said, the resources, slides and recording will all be available in about a week's time. We'll add them to the website where you signed up for the webinar today, and we'll also be dropping them in your inbox as well. We also send out a feedback form after each and every webinar. If you're not familiar with our webinars, if you do take a few minutes to fill that in, that would be super helpful to us. It really does help us inform what we want to go on and do and how we iterate our webinar program going forward. Next webinar, 2 weeks time, 2 weeks today, same time, 1 o'clock, we have the National Cybersecurity back with us. They will be doing a webinar on, is the cloud really secure? So very interesting one that I would recommend all charities take part of. And we also have our next podcast coming out on Tuesday that's all about radicalizing accessibility and how to be more accessible charities. So make sure to head over to the website to sign up and engage with those, charitydigital.org.uk. Thank you once again, and we shall see you next time.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.